The dawn of a new Champ Car season brings the pursuit of speed. Veterans look to take the first step towards the championship, while everyone else is talking about the young Frenchman on the pole who may be the next big thing. We have your Paddock Pass with all the highlights and post-race from St. Petersburg.
Then it's back to the short tracks. The World of Outlaws kicking up dust while the Hooters Pro Cup drivers wait out the rain and then pound the pavement.
We also have battling bikes and dueling dragsters.
For St. Pete's sake, stay with us. It's Speed News. Season openers are so much fun, and there are so many coming our way in the next couple of weeks. I'm Dave Spain.
I'm Ralph Shaheen. We'll begin with the kart season opener as we bring you up to speed with the world of motorsports. Well, there were plenty of questions about the quality of the show the kart series would produce in 2003. One brand of engine, a bunch of new young drivers, and a new street circuit to open up a very important season. The answer, very solid and full of excitement. At the start, it was a young French speedster, Sébastien Bourdais, on the pole and holding off the aggressive veteran Paul Tracy as they cranked the wheel to the right for turn one. Rookie mistake of the day goes to Mario Haberfeld, who runs Bruno Junqueira right up to the pit wall. And watch this, they barely avoid disaster, and Mario earns his first trip to the kart trailer. Alex Tagliani, pushing to make a good impression on new car owner Paul Gentilozzi, brings out the first caution instead. Later on lap 17, pit stops for the leaders, except for Bourdais and Adrian Fernandez. Bruno Junqueira is ready to go, but the right rear isn't on, a costly mistake. On board now as Tracy tries to hunt down Sebastian, but can't get around Tiago Monteiro. Bourdais finally comes into the attention of the Newman Haas crew, a solid stop for him. Sebastian on cold Bridgestones, Tracy has his up to temps and takes the lead. Big problems for Bourdais. Flat left rear, suspension damage, his day is done, but the statement been made, this kid's fast. Junqueira is going to rip the mirrors right off of Haberfeld's car if he gets the chance. He still makes the pass, however. Patrick Carpentier stuffs the nose of his player's entry into the tires. He continued 2 laps down. Ryan Hunter-Reay also overshoots a corner. On board with Carpentier, check this out. He shows you what lock-to-lock is all about while avoiding Ryan's car. Fernandez gets punted by fellow countryman Mario Dominguez. Adrian's day is done. Should be a hot topic heading into round 2 of Mexico. Haberfeld still watching his mirrors, overshoots the corner and almost gives up 4th. I knew somebody was back there. Tiago, the next to experience the ever-widening car of Haberfeld. Jimmy Vasser, finding the limits of no traction control, allows Roberto Moreno by. Tracy never stops pushing, almost costs himself the win, but ET gathers it up and wins his 20th career Champ Car race in his 13th season in the series. It's his first trip to victory lane since Milwaukee last year.
And he joins us now live from St. Pete. I understand he's been locked in a room doing interviews for, well, ever since the checkered flag. Is there anything those guys haven't asked you? Have you saved anything for us, bud?
No, I'm waiting. Lingner told me that you guys did a great job on Speed today with the coverages. He said it was unbelievable.
Well, you're the guy who did the great job, with the exception of being hung up there for a while. Looked like it was flawless, was it?
Being around all these TV cameras, my job's easy.
Well, tell us about what happened with the team. Your engineer, the term I heard was walked out early in the week, and then you come back and win the race. I guess you don't need that guy so much.
Well, I guess we don't, but you know, I don't know what happened. There was, you know, some issues, I guess, that weren't resolved, and my engineer quit on 4 days before the race. It kind of left us up in the air. I have my race weekend engineer is Tony Sicali, who I worked with at Team Green, but he only comes into the races and he's not shop based and doesn't do the starting race setup. So really we had to rely on Pat's engineer to give us a base setup to start from. Kind of threw everything up in the air for us, but we started out, the first practice session went good, and then we had an engine problem and had to switch engines, and qualifying went bad because we ran a little bit long getting the engine done, and the first day turned into a bit of a disaster, but then we regrouped and got it all together for Saturday and put it on the front row, and then had a great race.
I would think so. The day that you want to have it right is on Sunday, and it was. That's obviously sure. 20 career wins. What about that guy you lined up beside? The Frenchman, Bourdais, showed us a lot of speed. You worried about this kid?
Well, you know, you're always worried. There's always somebody new and hot that always comes in, and he's a Formula 3000 champion. You know, a guy like Juan Montoya came into the series as a Formula 3000 champion, and obviously the guy can drive and he's very fast. But he learned the ropes today a little bit. You know, it's a 105 lap race, and you know it's great to go fast for quarter race distance, but you know you got to make it to the end. And the track was very fast today, very technical, and very tricky with no traction control, and it was catching a lot of guys out.
In about 10 seconds, because that's about what we have left, you've got new cars with spec motors and no traction control. How do you like driving this year's Champ cars?
Well, they're tough. They're a lot more physical to drive than they were when we had traction control. The cars are really on edge. You got a lot of power with the Ford motor. The Bridgestone tires are very conservative, so they last a long time, but you do a little bit of sliding around, and it makes for a tough car to drive.
It was fun to watch. Congratulations. Good luck next month in Mexico.
Thanks, Dave.
Paul Tracy live. Rookie Mario Haberfeld and veteran super sub Roberto Moreno, the last of 5 cars to finish on the lead lap. Jimmy Vasser moved forward to 6th. Tracy's teammate Patrick Carpentier was 8th. Look for bigger things from Bourdais. His spin and subsequent repairs cost him 8 laps. Oriol Servia in 12th, the last car running. Tagliani only made 3 laps before hitting the tire barrier. A little more of the post-race chat.
Once I've been passed by Tracy, Carpentier, and I was a bit upset. And I just tried to push as hard as possible to keep in the good pace. But that's not been possible, and I just touched the wall, but damaged the toe-in control, so that's race.
It was going good there for a while, and then at the end I just had no rear grip whatsoever on the rear tires, and just loose under braking, wheel spin, leaving the corners. But it's good for the American Spirit team to finish. You know, that's what we wanted to do. I think we could have been 4th or 5th, but you know, we'll take it.
I moved once to the inside, which you're allowed to do. I think he was a bit optimistic, tried to brake even later, couldn't stop the car, so he ran straight on, and because I was on the outside, I couldn't turn in, so it was a shame because we both lost 5 places there. But in the end, I mean, really happy with our result.
I think I did what nobody did. I passed a lot of people on this track. It was really difficult to pass, but I just made some nice moves and passed people, went forward, got really fast laps, and finished third. I was quite happy with that.
We worked very hard in the winter to improve a lot of things. I think the new rules suit us very good too. So I think we're going to have many weekends like this.
Bob Varsha anchored Speed's coverage of today's kart season opener with Tommy Kendall. They join us now with more insight from St. Pete.
All right, thanks, guys. Well, TK, for the first 2 days of the weekend here in St. Pete, it was all about French rookie Sébastien Bourdais dominating qualifying. But when the race was over, it was the veterans coming through.
And a very significant veteran, Paul Tracy. The old Paul Tracy probably would have been tired of hearing about Bourdais this, Bourdais that. I'm the guy you got to go past, made a big point in turn 1. He didn't do that. When he was stuck behind Montero early on, he didn't make a mistake in a desperation move. Lots of maturity from Paul Tracy. He's always had the speed, he's always had the aggression, he's always had the moves. The maturity was the only thing lacking. Now that he's in tip-top shape, got a great start to the season, looking good.
Now, Bourdais will definitely be heard from before the season is over. This guy is just simply fast.
He's very, very quick, very composed. I mean, he strikes me as like a Clark Kent type, but there is definitely an S on that guy's chest. The inter-team rivalry is a big talk. Junqueira was nowhere, and people were thinking he was starting to get rattled and looking to see how he'd respond. Well, he responded, had a poor start to the race. On the podium at the end, Bourdais, all the headlines. He's back with just a couple points, came back to, I think, finish 12th. But Junqueira off to a good start. That'll do a good thing to even that out.
Well, after all the off-season gloom and doom, 18 cars were promised, 19 delivered, with a couple more in the pipeline before the next race a month from now. For TK, I'm Bob Varsha. Back to the studio.
Thanks, guys. 1 down, 18 to go, and here are the points. Paul Tracy leads, looking for his first kart title. Haberfeld, unbelievably, is 4th overall and leads the rookie class. 1996 kart champ Jimmy Vasser is 6th in the points as the series heads to Mexico for round 2.
The winged world of outlaws. Visit a track where sprint cars usually race topless. We're off to Paris. Oh, wait, that's Paris. Anyway, it's coming up on Speed News.
Despite a 3-hour delay, the Hooters Pro Cup season opener finally went green. Find out who burned the midnight oil to earn the series' first checkers of 2003.
Speed Channel's coverage of Speed News Sunday is brought to you by Circuit City. We know the excitement you feel about the latest digital toys. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you. And by Subaru. Visit us online at Subaru.com to see the full line of Subaru all-wheel drive vehicles.
All right, let's change the pace from the St. Petersburg Street Circuit to a California bull ring.
Big tracks, big speed, short tracks, lots of action. The O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Outlaws have 99 nights of racing on their 25th anniversary calendar this season. This weekend, 2 nights, 2 races, 2 different cities, separated by a few hundred miles. Unacceptable to most major racing series. Just another day at the office for the Outlaws. We start with Friday night action. King Speedway, Garrett Ishii and Brian Coelho upside down. Tony Lutar, Mike Freya, Jeff Shepard also involved. Sammy Swindell upstairs and on the gas, picking off Daniel Lasowski and Tommy Charlton for 6th. Tim Kading becomes the first non-regular outlaw in series history to win a season opener. After a quick trip to the car wash and a late night drive down I-5, Sammy Swindell was leading the way at Paris Speedway Saturday night. Slam and Sammy, however, would spin a little later on, handing the lead to Lasowski. Sammy slipped to 6th before spinning again, ending his night. Reigning King of California, Tim Kading, suffers mechanical problems, ending his shot at back-to-back wins. The Dude and his crew spent speed weeks working on their program in Florida. It paid off. Danny's new Mopar engine powering him to his 2nd career win at Paris. Next stop for the tour is Vegas next weekend.
Also on the short tracks, I wonder if you need to dry a wet racetrack. Well, call Tim Chitwood of the famed stunt driving family. He's got the jet dryer from hell. Lakeland, Florida, rain-delayed Hooters Pro Cup Southern Series opener in the wee hours of the morning. First 15 under caution. Defending champ Bobby Gill, who won, what, 9 in a row early last year, out with arm surgery. So the first guy into the spotlight is the past champ, Mario Gosselin. He needed just 7 laps to wrestle the lead away from pole sitter Stacy Purrier. 20 later, second-year man Shane Wallace shows up and makes life miserable for Gosselin. Late in the race, Danny Sammons tangles with the black 71 of Shane Studer. Sammons was leading with 59 to go. Studer was done, finished 25th. Last battle of the long night. On the bottom, Joe Gaeta, 8th overall and 2nd-ranked rookie last year, taking the lead from Steve Christian, who finished last season strong with 3rd place in the Hooters National Series. Gaeta also finished strong, 2nd right here in last year's finale to serve notice. And now the Yorktown Virginian has his first career win in Hooters Pro Cup. Bob Uecker, buy that boy some wings. Last year, the Minnesota State Fair pulled the plug on its Labor Day ASA race and ended a long-standing tradition, but also opening a door. Minnesota's Elko Speedway, which ran an ASA 300-lapper last spring, says bring that tradition right on over here and we'll keep it going. They'll run Labor Day and bump to 400 laps. It's the only time this year the ASA cars will go that far, and of course it's live on Speed.
Boris is ready to defend his Trans Am title. See how he did at St. Pete, despite having to start from the back of the pack.
And then we'll head down the fast track to bring you NHRA Powerade drag racing from Arizona. Well, it's not yet official, but hopes are high that Formula One will live on Speed beginning in 2 weeks in Australia. Meanwhile, cue the lawyers. McLaren and Williams have issued the press release that says they will take the FIA to court over new rules, which McLaren's Ron Dennis says dumb down Formula One. And after Bernie Ecclestone raised the possibility of emergency financial help for the Minardi and Jordan teams, Dennis created another controversy, knocking Minardi as less worthy of help than Jordan. On the track, Toyota, the surprise of rain-plagued testing in Barcelona this week. Olivier Panis cut the best lap on Tuesday. His teammate Cristiano Damata hampered by a wall-smacking shunt on Thursday when the car broke in the rain. Young Alonso in the Renault also cut his quick lap on Tuesday. In addition to the 5 teams listed, Jaguar also on hand. And meanwhile, Ferrari and Sauber have been doing their own thing in Italy with Michael Schumacher leading the way. And now the Hans device, already either mandatory or widely used in America, causing an uproar in F1. Drivers are up in arms over its required use this season. Max Mosley says if you look into history, drivers also opposed helmets and seat belts. So the rule will go forward. Nick Heidfeld and Jacques Villeneuve are particularly outspoken, arguing the Hans is actually dangerous.
The Indy Racing League is the next major racing series to begin the chase for a championship. The 1.5-mile Homestead Miami Speedway will be the site for the opening round of the 2003 IRL season, which will be its 8th year of competition as a sanctioning body, and should produce one of the strongest fields ever. The Toyota Indy 300 is scheduled for next Sunday, March 2nd. Speed News, of course, will be there. The Falcons, the All-American chassis for the IRL competition, might not get a chance to prove itself. Nobody has bought one. The North Carolina company, which is headed up by designer Ken Anderson and former Ford Motorsports director Michael Kranifus, at one time had 22 employees, about half of which have been let go. They have asked IRL officials to help steer some customers their way. IRL teams have been busy testing. 22 IndyCar Series drivers ran a total of 2,320 laps on Tuesday. Michael Andretti topped the speed charts with an impressive lap at 207.3 miles an hour. Penske Racing's Gilles de Ferran was next up, exceeding 206 miles an hour. Making IRL officials nervous was the fact that some 15 miles an hour separated the fastest and slowest cars.
The Trans Am Series lives on speed, and the chase for the BF Goodrich Cup, the series born 37 years ago next month, and the 03 season opening today in St. Petersburg with our broadcast colleague Scott Pruitt on the pole. Last year's champ Boris Said lined up on the tail because the car flunked tech after qualifying 4th. And so that dynamic was pretty much the story of the day. Pruitt hasn't lost his touch, and Said was the story of the race, at least early on. He comes through the traffic, passes Bobby Sack right there, moves into the top 10, and then a lap later he goes around Greg Pickett, and he's up to 9th. Little luck never hurts either. When Tommy Dreese gets together with Michael Lewis, well, there goes Boris, another spot. Now, lap 13, Paul Gentilozzi, who owns Pruitt's car, gets by for the only lead change of the day. Pruitt, assuming Gentilozzi pays him to pass everybody, did. Passed the boss. Back to Boris. Here he passes Johnny Miller, moves up into 3rd, and on lap 37 takes over 2nd spot from Gentilozzi. Pruitt is very, very strong. Trans Am has this rule. 10 laps to go, we'll just throw the yellow, bunch everybody back up. Unlike NASCAR, they just tell everybody they're going to do that. No matter, Pruitt just takes off, wins this thing handily, and that puts him in very good position to start his run for a 3rd series championship.
Well, the NHRA's Powerade Drag Racing Series teams pitched their tents in the Valley of the Sun this weekend for a few days of nitro-powered tire-smoking fun. The 19th annual Checkers Shuck Craigan's Despain Shaheen Nationals. And with our parachutes packed, we head to Firebird Raceway for the highlights. Round 1 highlights begin with Top Fuel, where Brandon Bernstein in the Bud car runs a 4:59 with a 4, 323 miles an hour to beat Mike Strasberg. King Kenny still not smiling, but it was his son's first round win for points as a pro. Good job, Brandon. In Funny Car, it's Ron Capps versus Tim Wilkerson. Tim smokes the highs, Capps wins, but hurts the engine on his way to a 506 with a 7 at 258 miles an hour. They put in a new bullet. Ron's in the finals. In Pro Stock, Jim Yates, who didn't qualify for Pomona, beats Pomona winner Warren Johnson with the whole shot at the lights. WJ had a better ET, but Yates was faster. Check out the replay. Look how close it was at the line. Scott Jeffrey on red lights against V Gaines, but that was the least of his problems. No shoot at the far end. Car gets loose, slams into the wall. Scott fortunately crawled out, but did go to the hospital to get checked out. Now here are the results of the finals, which have just wrapped up out in Phoenix. Brandon Bernstein, maybe now King Kenny is smiling. He gets the win. In Funny Car, well, the Snakes got a victory. Ron Capps puts his Skull Machine into the victory lane area. And in Pro Stock, Greg Anderson runs up over 201 miles an hour for the Pro Stock win.
And racing, of course, is full of surprises. When and where things happen shouldn't be one of them.
Now break out your day planner. Here is our Advanced Auto Parts racing calendar.
Channel's coverage of Speed News Sunday is brought to you by Circuit City. We know the excitement you feel about the latest digital toys. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you.
The first running of the Turkish Rally is a full-blown round of the World Rally Championship is having its share of difficulties. First, there's the threat of war in the Middle East. Now heavy snowfall has forced the modification of some of the stages, since the tire companies didn't plan for a Mediterranean version of the Swedish Rally. Well, with a fresh set of knee pucks in place, we're ready for MotoGP news.
But equally important this week, Ralph, was a nice, clean team shirt and well-polished teeth because they had a big media day kicking off the first official team test for the 03 bikes. I'm going to skip the photo up and show you Colin Edwards. First time we've had a look at the new Aprilia Cube, to which the Texas Tornado defected after Honda gave its best Open GP seat to Nicky Hayden. Love that Lone Star paint job on the new Priller 3-banger. Has Suzuki amped up its four-cylinder four-stroke offering enough to lift KR-JR, shown here, and his fellow American John the Hopper Hopkins into contention? Let us hope. Colin, by the way, was third quick behind Barros and Checa on the Yamahas. Honda was not there.
Scuffing their helmets off the roof of the Georgia Dome last night were the high-flying stars of the AMA Supercross Series. 250 points leader Ricky Carmichael racked up his 5th win of the year. Yamaha's Chad Reed has been the only one to stay close to Ricky all season. He finished 2nd. In the 125 East event, Brock Sellers led every lap for the win. Combine that with his 2nd place last week, and he is now the new points leader in the class. Well, we've completed all the laps in this show, but we will be back again next Saturday night at 7 Eastern to do it again. I'm Ralph Sheheen, and if you don't like the way we did it, call the Spain Friday night and complain about it on Wind Tunnel.
We'll give you the opportunity to do that, 11:30 Eastern Time, where you can complain about anything else that you like. It's no problem. You might want to give us a call occasionally and give us an update on what's coming up for the weekend. Actually, it was a lot of fun. 1-866-W-TUNNEL is the telephone number. We hope to see you next Friday night. And remember the new time. It's 11:30 Eastern. Until then, I'm David Spain. So long, everybody.